every one of these games obviously are going to be critical. And,
Yes.
you know, as we were kind of just talking about the difference between the 3 spot or the 4 spot, everything is, you know, it's such a small
Margin.
difference
Yes.
small margin can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Warriors tomorrow. What do you think?
I'm going to go with sneaking out a W.
I think they win tomorrow too.
I think they win. Like I said, the Lakers have had one of the best records at home. They've defended home court well, and I think that they know how important these games are. Again, Jimmy Butler is the next factor, seeing as we have not seen, you know, this Warriors team that are coming, but they're also, you know, coming off of 1 day's rest. The Lakers have had two days off. So I'm going to go with a Lakers dub, and, you know, hopefully the practice will help today. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Lakers.
All right. I think they squeak out a win as well, but if we're
in hard fought game, you know,
right,
like,
but if we're sitting here Friday morning and they lost by 3 or 5, that obviously is not a shock or anything like that. Okay, right. So by the way, in that one, all of a sudden, if you win that game, what it means, but if you lose that game, now Golden State's kind of getting in the mix here of potentially if you don't finish your regular season right. Okay, so you got the Warriors tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Pelicans on Friday. Me and you can suit up with Luka, LeBron, and Austin. They sat everybody. They don't have any. Zion's gone.
Zion's out.
Gone.
Yeah. So they shut everybody down. They're like, okay, you know, season's over. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's a win, even though it's a back-to-back. I'm definitely gonna, you know, count on. But you know, also the Lakers and the teams that have been below 500 have found ways to really struggle this season, and you know, lose to teams that should be dubs. So, but I think that the way that the Lakers are playing right now and just what I've seen from them, they know how important each of these games are. Vando said, you know, DFS have said, like, everybody has said that they're paying attention very closely to the standing, that they know what's on the line. So I expect them to show up, you know, back to back.
Okay. So by the way, it's a good point, because I think when I was probably sitting here over the last month, and if I would have said, oh, they got Chicago at home, that's a win. They lost.
Yes.
Orlando
losses of the season.
Orlando and Chicago on the road, they lose both of those and then somehow beat Indiana and Memphis. So you explain that to me. The teams over 5, you know, the teams in playoff contention, they play well against. Okay, so we got Warriors, we got New Orleans. Yeah, I have no idea what to think about these 2 OKC games.
I'm gonna say we're gonna split it. I'm not sure which way, but I think they'll lose one, win one. Since they have them back to back, I don't expect them to drop both games, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, what is OKC like? What's their goal in these games?
Right.
Is the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I can see this happening. They got the Thunder on Sunday. Yeah. I could see the Thunder trying to serve the Lakers one on Sunday on national TV.
Yes.
Maybe I'm off on this one, but
no, I think you're absolutely right about that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I think OKC is gonna, hey, we're playing the Lakers. Everybody's going to be watching this game. Why don't we? Playoffs don't start for another, you know, X amount of weeks, whatever the case is.
Right.
Okay, so you say split versus the Thunder, and I think, you know, I'm very curious to see what that matchup looks like, because kind of similar to how they played Memphis, we hadn't seen a Luka LeBron versus Ja yet, and Desmond Bane and everybody else.
Yeah.
Lakers versus Houston. We hadn't seen a Luka LeBron versus the Houston Rockets and the number 2 seed in the West. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow against the Warriors, it's going to be, again, we don't really have data.
Exactly.
And we have no data against the Thunder as well.
But I think also that's the converse that could work to the Lakers' advantage as well, is that, you know, they have one game to kind of figure out what this OKC team is with LeBron and Luka, that they, you know, so I give them the game on Sunday. I think you're spot on that. And then when they play again, which I believe is Tuesday, then, you know, I think that the Lakers will have some time to regroup, see what it is, you know, and potentially, I don't see them like throwing the whole, you know, they might rest and be, who knows how it will go the second game. But like, I do think that will be a good sample size for the Lakers to see kind of where they are, matching up against obviously the surefire number 1 seed in the West. And obviously what SGA has been doing, having the MVP season that he has, is, you know, he's going to be ready.
Okay. Sneaky game after OKC that I think people are just assuming is a W. Right. That Dallas game is going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm actually going to be out there for that game. It's going to be my first road game of this season.
That's a good one to pick. Look at Lauren.
I was trying to scout ahead of time. I didn't make it to the Boston game at the Garden. There's a couple of arenas that, I really want to check off the bucket list. But I thought, this is I had booked my travel prior to the Kyrie and AD and all the slew of injuries that the Mavs were hit with shortly after the trade. But seeing Luka return for the first time in Dallas, I think it's definitely obviously going to be a lot of emotions and fanfare on both sides. Obviously, hide Nico from everybody involved. Hopefully he's out of range, but I do think that that's going to be a really good game to see. I think it's a win for the Lakers handily, but even with AD back, I think AD might try to drop 40 on the head or something.
He will,
and potentially he will. I love AD. I miss him on the team. I miss covering him, but and happy to see that he's back on the court. Obviously, has had a tough go of it as of the last few years with injuries, but I do still see that as a win for the Lakers.
Okay, Houston at home a week from Friday. What do you got?
Okay, I'm gonna go with another squeaky dub. I think the Lakers are gonna get to a 50 game season.
50 wins on the season.
Yeah, I do believe so, and so potentially I could be wrong with one of these, like either the Warriors game or the Houston game, because I think Houston. I don't think that they'll have as many mistakes as they did this first game. Obviously Dylan Brooks is not a fan favorite of Laker fan. He's quite the opposite. Şengün, I don't expect him to have the same kind of game that he did. I think he'll have some more production. So, between I can't call it, but I think one of those games might be an L, and I don't want to, Indian Giver backtrack. So I want to stand on business, 10 toes, but yeah, I think that game against Houston will be another tight one.
Okay, so let's say this. I'm gonna say, kind of based on how tight you think both of those games are.
Yeah.
Let's just say they went 5-2 in their final 7.
Yeah.
I think that gets it done for the number 4 spot, and I think that it makes it very interesting for number 3. But if you go 4-3, or if you went 3-4, I don't know what to tell you. Now all of a sudden you might be losing. I mean, the one thing that they have kind of to their advantage here is they got a lot of tiebreakers on a lot of these teams around them. They already have a 2-game cushion on the Warriors and some of these other teams.
Yes.
So a lot still can kind of, come at play. But if they found a way to go 5-2 against these teams that we're talking about, and you won the ones you were supposed to, and you split between OKC and you split between the Warriors and Houston, whichever one, take an L in one of those games.
Yes.
I think they're getting home court in the first round, but part of the headache in that still means you're probably at number 4, and it means you're probably still facing the Warriors in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we're going to see what that looks like. We will revisit this conversation after tomorrow's game, because I do think that there's a lot riding on that and the ability to kind of see. But I think home court gives us a lot of advantage. I mean, that is actually the advantage, because playing at Golden State, I went to Chase Center for All-Star. It is unlike any, one of the loudest, arenas and most difficult to play to me, outside of maybe Boston and New York or some of these other bigger arenas. But the Warriors fans are crazy, obviously. So I think, having home court against the Warriors would be a huge advantage. But also, when I think about these last 7 games, I also think about how important health is for the Lakers going into the playoffs, and having this ability to really build out this the chemistry. Because if you think about it, the starters that are starting, so Rui, LeBron, Austin, Luka, and Jackson, they've only played a collective of 7-8 games together starting. So that they need this kind of time to really gel and mesh before the playoffs start. So I think it's going to be an important stretch for them. And, whether they go, slip down to, or stand at the 4 seed, or whether they,
as long as they're healthy.
As long as they're healthy and have home court, I trust in the Lakers. We believe, for oxymoron there.
Well, they'll get a little bit of, avoid that play, and all of a sudden you get about 5-6 days off. Obviously, that's going to help him.
Right.
Has LeBron seemed, since LeBron came back?
Yeah.
It's just an assumption here. I got nothing, no intel on this. Still seems like he's trying to get himself figured out again, and that's the part that I think when you say they just got to be healthy, that's the portion to me that I think sticks out the most. He has not looked like the same player before that injury. I mean, there was a point this year he's playing top 7, top 6, top 7 in the league at age 40.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Does it feel like
you're spot on there too. I think we've all kind of noticed that. Both him and Rui have, since they've come back, you can see that they've taken a step back from where they were pre-injury and before that groin. And the groin is really difficult because also, Slee, we know that he's had issues with that in the past. I believe it was 2018 that he missed, a series of games. Obviously, it was different because this is a strain, but I think it's going to be paramount for LeBron to get the rest he needs, even if in this stretch, because without LeBron and Rui, the Lakers were taking care of business. They were in a lot of these games. Luka and Austin had, established a really great rapport, where they were figuring things out. And so, I do see what you're talking about. I think it's very obvious. Obviously, he's had some of these big moments where, he has the game winner on the road, or he scores those 2 free throws and gets the block at the end of the last game against the Rockets. But I do think that you can see that he's not 100%. And same thing with Rui. He's trying to find his footing again. And it took Austin quite a while before he got going again when he came back from his
sure.
So like there are some concerns, I think, in terms of the health of the Lakers going into the playoffs. But like also I just see so much promise when they are clicking the defensive grade, and seeing that the role players in DFS and Gabe step up in these last few games has been really encouraging as well, because obviously the offense has suffered a bit with LeBron kind of taking that step back and them having some off games. So to see the production from those two has really been good over this last stretch. I'm like, keep it going, keep being butt naked wide open.
That's right. That's exactly how they describe it too. All right. Thank you very much for watching the clip. Just want to give a shout out here to one of our partners, the Wallace Firm. They are official injury attorney of the Sliwa Show and Hoops Talk, the entire channel. If you are ever in a need, and I hope you're not, but some type of serious injury with yourself or a family member of yours, I would like to personally help you by introducing you to the best in the business, Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Also got a URL out here that you can use as well. Just go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Thank you for their partnership, and thank you for being a part of the Sliwa Show.